Man, I did not realize I needed a haircut this bad until I started recording. Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Grayson and this is Tech with, well, me. Today I wanted to talk about PC peripherals and which ones might fit you best. I'm going to be focusing on what I consider to be the big three of PC gaming peripherals: Corsair, Razer, and Logitech. Now, there are other contenders like HyperX, RoboCat, or even SteelSeries, but I consider them to be a little bit smaller brands than these other three. But I tell you what, if y'all want to see a video just like this one about these other three brands, let me know down below and maybe we'll look into doing one. Also, to be fair, if I tried to fit in every brand in the world, I would have to do this like a live stream and it would probably never end. That being said, let's go ahead and get started. So what can we say about Razer? What makes them stand out? They're certainly the most aesthetically pleasing brand, at least I think so, although you would likely disagree if you tend to steer clear from the gamery aesthetic. I don't. You may. There is a reason Razer names a majority of their products after apex predators. They're always styled to look like a predator on the prowl, ready to pounce. Sleek, yet sharp corners, and RGB that's at the forefront of every design is one of the things that makes Razer Razer, and I love it. Now, they aren't for everyone, but if you're into this type of aesthetic, you'll want nothing else. Now, I've never personally had a complaint about Razer's build quality, but from a longevity standpoint, Razer might rank last on this list. While I've always personally had really good luck with them, it is pretty well known and widely spread on the internet that their build quality and longevity is just, it's not great. Now, sometimes it's issues with double clicking, the product's not staying connected, or many other issues. They just seem to not last after the warranty period. Being fair, this could happen with any brand, but it seems to be pretty well known that Razer products just don't last. That being said, I've never really had an issue with that. My products tend to last pretty well, but that's not to say that it doesn't exist. Some of their mice, like the Viper Ultimate or the Basilisk Ultimate, have incredibly powerful and accurate sensors that prove to be fan favorites over and over. Razer as a brand is a staple in the PC community. From the Death Adder to the Kraken headsets to their Black Widow keyboards, Razer is a huge brand and nobody does it quite like them. There, maybe that'll see it. I'm trying to get it to focus, but I've even got like this nifty Razer phone case on my iPhone and it is, I like it a lot. Now, Corsair used to be my favorite brand. I've used their keyboards and headsets and always really liked them, and honestly, I still do. I can't really say why I stopped using them. I think more than likely I just wanted to try something new, but they're still great product. Their keyboards have always been really well rated, regardless of if it's the K75 or the K95. They're all pretty great. Corsair keyboards don't use proprietary switches. They tend to use Cherry MX switches on their keyboards, which I think is great because you always know what you're getting into. Regardless of whether you're buying a keyboard with a Cherry Speed or a Cherry Brown switch, it's all the same across the board. A Cherry Brown is a Cherry Brown for the most part, no matter what board it's soldered to, so I really appreciate that Corsair does this. Aesthetics wise, I actually feel that Corsair falls in between the other two brands in the big three. I feel that they're more gamery than Logitech, but less so than Razer. Their mice, on the other hand, I feel might even have Razer beat from the gamer aesthetic standpoint. From the RGB to the texture they use on the mice, and even the ergonomics, they just scream gamer aesthetic. Unfortunately, Really Cool Looks is about the best that can be said for Corsair's mice, as performance wise, they're a little bit lacking. By modern standards, they're just heavy and really slow to use. I've read that their mouse sensors really aren't that great either, and the couple times that I have given a Corsair mouse a try, I have felt like it didn't track as well as other mice that I own. But what about their RGB software? Well, this is where Corsair really shines, because iCUE is some of the best RGB software out. They give you access to extreme customization, and on top of that, it's actually really easy to use. The best part is that if you use a Corsair case or even Corsair case fans, then you can control all of it, including your peripherals, all in one software, which makes it super easy rather than having 5 different spots you have to go. I think being able to have access to all of this in one place makes Corsair a really great option for anybody to choose. Now, I think Logitech is the most clean cut out of all of the brands on this list. If you want something that's stealthy, yet still has all of the advantages and performance that any gamer would want, Logitech is probably the brand for you. They have the least gamer-like aesthetic, as well as all of the RGB options and great performance. I have a friend who is a huge Logitech fan, and his argument has always been they are the biggest PC peripheral brand in the world outside of gaming. So they must be doing something right. That logic is about as sound as any other I've heard out there, so I can't necessarily say he's wrong. I want to put out there it was really hard for me to keep from making like a Logitech logic pun with that last line, but it doesn't matter. For a long time, Logitech was the biggest gaming mice brand in the world. They were the best on the market, and honestly, some would argue they still are. Their G Pro X mouse is one of the most popular on the planet right now for many mice enthusiasts due to its fantastic sensor, of which many Logitech mice use. On top of that, it's ultra light and its shape is perfect for most people. And before that, the G502 mouse was hands down the best gaming mouse on the market for years and years. For so long, it was almost hard to count. It's heavy by today's standards, but even now, its sensor can hold up to newer gaming mice and stand its own ground. But enough about mice. Let's talk about their keyboards. Unfortunately, they're in the same boat as Razer when it comes to their keyboards, where they use proprietary switches made for them, by them. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I do find it personally better to have cherry switches in the keyboards, just because most people are more familiar with that brand and what they have to offer, which makes it easier to know what type of keyboard and feel you're going to get when you're just grabbing one off the shelf. That being said, they still feel great to use, and I tend to feel that Logitech's peripheral brands tend to have the best build quality. Now, what sets some of their keyboards apart for me are the low profile, slim keyboards that they have, such as their G915 TKL. The switches they use on these low profile keyboards are only half the height of a standard keyboard switch, but they still have all the actuation and clickiness that you would want from a mechanical gaming keyboard. Logitech's biggest downside is their G-Hub RGB control software. A quick Google search shows that it's not very well liked at all. Almost every single post is about how bad it is, and even though I've only used it minimally, I have to say, I kind of agree. Regardless, if you want your peripheral brand to be on the down low, maybe perfect for professional use as well as gaming use, I feel like Logitech is probably the best choice. They have great quality and they have the least gamery look to them, making them perfect for your work from home and gaming setup. But that's about it for this video, guys. What peripheral brand do you guys use, and do y'all recommend them? Let me know down below. I would love to know. Thank you guys very, very kindly for watching. My name is Grayson, and this has been Tech with me.